women who may have lost their job or have members of their family that are being hit by this. And then, there may be a few that have actually had to quit their job, but for many and most of the people, this 82,000, that is actually Black women who their jobs were cut and lost just in the month of December. And the only explanation that the labor department can share is that it's because of the particular fields and career choices that we dominate. No, and there are other people in the field, and that's followed by, Hispanic women lost a lot of jobs as well. But the biggest numbers and the biggest hit and the biggest job losses were for Black women last year. And it's kind of disappointing because if you look at social media and all of this excitement about having, our first Black VP and then Black female, and that there's been like this big excitement, but everyone has ignored the reality for so many Black women that there's a huge challenge. And they when you look
Let
at
me
the
jump here and
statistics.
ask you this then,
Hmm.
JB. So, what sort of advice do you have for those, a lot of those sisters who are out of work right now, and for no fault of their own, and probably trying to figure a way how to get back into the job market? What
Yeah.
advice do you have for them?
Well, I feel that we have to give ourselves the permission to hustle hard. And I mean that from the depths of my soul, that as females, we are often socialized that we're not allowed to be hard workers. And if a woman has to work hard, that something went wrong or something is wrong with her or something, is not quite right. But I believe that we need to free ourselves that if even though you may have lost a job, there are many opportunities out there for us to fill. And I want us to, as a group, and that's why I do so many sessions on entrepreneurship and creating our own opportunities, because we are misled as a community that we think that jobs are guaranteed. Now, there's a major financial institution, like we're talking about restaurants and things like that, but a major financial institution who just cut jobs to take all of those positions overseas and to other states. So I mean, they're closing down and using these opportunities where you're working at home and figuring, and the companies are saying, well, we can save money there, we can save money there, but a lot of job losses are due to now there's more opportunities, even though the Biden plan does say they want to keep more jobs at home. I'm already seeing a movement of corporations moving jobs overseas. So we do need to realize that there is no guarantee. But one thing that you can guarantee about work is that as long as you're hustling, as long as you're working, as long as you go out there and create and find opportunities, you can build your future. It doesn't have to stop, because too often a job loss, and we can just look at the studies on it. When women lose their job or have a job change, they're very likely to use their retirement account. So it can hurt your wealth over the rest of your life. So one thing that you can do is start focusing on, what do I want to do? What am I very good at? And how do I create income from that? And I'm saying that every woman if I could talk to all of the 82,000 that lost the job in December, what you do is actually something that you could provide to others. If you're an assistant, if you're a secretary, you do administrative work, you could be a virtual assistant to someone. But it will require that you take the time, and go online and find out what is my plan for that. Sign up for things like AfroEconomics has free membership. I do entrepreneurship classes every week and find out what things do I need to be doing in order to create a business for myself and for my family. Because one thing that you
Well, let me jump in here
cannot
and ask you
pass
this
on.
question then.
Hmm.
Yeah, JB.
Hmm.
Would you recommend going back to school? Is school still an
Hmm.
issue?
Well, I think that school for women that had a job and have experience is just a way to avoid hustling. No, if you can think that school is a way to escape making money, then no, you should not go back to school. You can't be in the middle of your career and stop your growing in your career and go back to school. But you can work and also get the training that you need. I think that we are confused that we think that your work day is from 9 to 5. you know, your work day for outside of your home might be 9 to 5, but when you get home, you have a computer. And we need more of our homes to actually have desktops or laptop computers and move away from seeing the telephone as our access to the internet. Because once you start seeing all that is out there for you on the computer, then you will see that this is your new office. This is your new store. This is your new marketplace. And too many of us are told by people that love you that you just need to go and find another job. Well, in your insistence of finding that other job, you also need to, your at home time, figure out what can I do so that I'll never be out of work again.
Yeah. And now we're talking about Biden is talking about well, he's discussing raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour.
Hmm.
Some people are opposed to that. I want to get
Hmm.
your thoughts on the minimum wage because it seems like $15 an hour is not a whole lot of money
Yeah, but
to
it's
survive on.
vital that we get that minimum wage up to a livable wage. And the reason that if you Google livable wage in the United States of America, it's going to come in at around $15. That's where they came to that conclusion. But we cannot have the minimum wage continue for our community at this low levels because you have people working for 40 hours and they're still living in poverty. We can't do that because a Black citizen of the United States of America is more likely than anyone else to attempt to live off of minimum wage. So this is important that our representatives they actually go in there and stand up for the $15 commitment that was put on Black radio and Black television stations. That was a major position that this administration made to our community to win our vote. So we have to get at
Well, let me
least
jump here and ask you again
$15.
on this $15 an
Mhm.
hour, JB, because the business owners say if they have to pay that, it's going to bankrupt them. They're going to have to, send the jobs overseas
Mhm.
for cheaper labor.
Mhm.
What's your response to that?
That is absolutely nonsense. My firm is, I don't know, considered micro, and there's not a person that works with me that makes 15, everybody's making more than $15 an hour. So that's ridiculous for us to accept that. That they just need to operate their business more effectively and stop thinking that if you focus on the top, I mean, how can you even say that when you have people making multiple millions of dollars in executive positions and getting hundreds of thousands in just bonuses? And that the person who is the front door of your business isn't worthy of a livable wage. The thought that they think that that's okay, is that's a tragedy. So, and no one should allow it. Like as long as we as citizens say that, yeah, that's acceptable. Because somebody, people don't need to deserve to be paid. Who is to decide? Like I was in a round table, and a person mentioned that they felt that some people, and they used as an example at fast food, they don't shouldn't be paid that much. And I really didn't understand why you would think that people that handle your life like this, people that handle your food, that's your life. Like, how would you think that they deserve,
Sure. Hang on a
to be,
second, JB.
they
We got to take a
deserve to
short
be
break
paid?
here.
Hmm.
I'll let you finish your thought
Hmm.
on the other side. 800-450-7876. You got a question about finances. This is a lady you need to speak to. Her name is JB Bryan. We'll take your calls after this short break on FM 95.9 and AM 1450. WOL, where information is power.
This check on traffic sponsored by Centers for Disease Control. Well, there's a work zone set up along 395 heading north right at Boundary Channel Drive. It looks like the left lane is blocked, and that's causing backups coming up from 110. In the southbound direction, look out for this crash at Glebe Road. And backups start from Washington Boulevard as you make your way south through Arlington. In a loop of the Beltway, it's a stop-and-go pace out of Bethesda, beginning from Old Georgetown Road, making your way over to Georgia Avenue. DC 295 still jammed up northbound from the 11th Street Bridge up to East Capitol Street. And there's a crash in Oxon Hill. It's on Oxon Hill Road at John Hanson Lane. Millions of people suffer from an addiction to prescription opioids. It's not easy, but there is hope. Recovery is possible. If you or someone you know is struggling, visit cdc.gov/RX awareness. I'm Tony Thornton for News Talk 1450 AM WOL, where information is power.
Hi, friend. It's your home speaking, and I need some favors. Could you turn on some of the lights in the basement? I'm scared of the dark. Also, this one is easy. Could you bundle your home and car insurance with Geico so we could save money? Last thing, just a suggestion. Could you steam clean the carpets? I need a spa day.
Geico. For bundling made easy, go to geico.com today.
Why? Why take a chance? Why risk a mistake? Why say something? We all have reasons why we choose to ignore the things that give us pause, that seem out of place, that don't feel right. The word why can either paralyze us or empower us to stand up and protect what we love. So if you see something, why do you say something?
I see safe for my family.
I see safe for my friends.
I see safe for my students.
We see safe for each other.
I say because all of this matters.
We all have something worth protecting, a why that unifies the community we're all a part of. So protect your everyday. Report suspicious activity to local authorities. If you see something, say something.
My son is 10. He has brain tumor, and he's fighting for his life. We are so amazed by St. Jude. We don't have to pay, and we don't have to worry. This really helps us so much. I really respect people who donate. Tommy can have a second chance. We as a family can have a second chance. So I'm very grateful.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures. Saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
1450 WOL, everywhere you are via our mobile app.
And now back to the Carl Nelson Show
On Washington, D.C.'s 1450.
1450 WOL Radio.
Thanks for staying with us, folks. Our guest is J.B. Bryan. She's a financial advisor. Got a question about money, finances. This is the lady you need to speak with. Our number is 800-450-7876. J.B. already told us about the tight job markets out there and how many Black women lost their jobs in December at the end of the year, and probably much more. They just didn't file. And the question is, what's the solution? What can they do? So, JB, I'm going to let you finish your response and then tackle that question for me. What can these sisters do who lost their jobs at the end of the year?
I want us to stop undervaluing ourselves, because it's a mistake. And I always tell the members of AfroEconomics that you can learn more from my mistakes than from what I do right, because I do right because of the mistakes that I've made. And what happens is that we undervalue ourselves. And a lot of people that lost their jobs, they weren't where they should be anyway. I haven't met a person yet that didn't lose a job that earlier in their career that actually turned into an opportunity. Now, I am going to say that we should consider. Now, Carter G. Woodson talks about this in his book, The Miseducation of the Negro, that we move away from unlimited income potential. We have been socialized to focus on who's going to pay me, getting that guaranteed check, you think. But over and over throughout my career, because I work with people investing lump sums of money and things, that the majority of the people that I meet, they've had to retire unexpectedly and are blessed with the ability to have saved some, but like there's huge numbers, like almost 50% of people are having to retire early and having to go, and because they don't know about other opportunities within themselves, they just stop creating income. And it doesn't have to go that way. And a large percentage of the people retiring early, it's because of a job loss. But a job loss does not equal your inability to work. There's a difference between having to stop work because you're ill. That doesn't count. But when we're healthy, I don't care what age we are, we need to start focusing on creating income. And you do not have to have a job in order to create income in the electronic economy that we have. So you're undervaluing yourself if you think because you lost that job that you can't continue to make income. You have to make income, but in order to create income, you're going to have to sell the service that you provide. You're going to have to sell yourself to the people that you want to sell your service to. That if I can, work in a restaurant and cook, I certainly can start a catering company. You can certainly do these things. You just have to commit that I'm going to hustle, and I'm going to hustle hard to create the business, the income that I need, and you can advance past where you were. And I would agree that you do need to get into a partnership or around people like myself. And that's why AfroEconomics has the free membership, so that people will have a step up from where I had nobody to mentor me 26 years ago, starting my investment firm, that I want people to learn from things that there was no one there to tell me. That you have, just by listening to your show, Carl, and you giving me that opportunity to tell us that we need to stop looking for guarantees. We need to go out there and look for opportunities to find work that use the skills that we have and that get the continuing education, but don't give up on your income. I don't think that at any point in our life we should stop making income. I have been generating income since I was 16 years old. When I was an undergrad in college, I worked 2 to 3 jobs all the 4 years. When I went full-time working, I did my master's full-time at night. We have 24 hours in the day. We have a lot of time. Like, it's not school or work. It's you learn while you work.
Let me ask you a question, because you just laid out a roadmap for folks who want to get ahead, and of course, double up on their earnings and have another revenue stream.
Yes.
But is there a reason why we seem to be in the consumer side of the column and not in the producer side? Because it seems like
that's right.
It's just we're always buying stuff. We're not producing stuff. Is there a reason behind that?
That's the reason is that we've been just taught that it's important what we look like. So if we are still trying to appeal to that insecurity of people will judge me because I'm not dressed correctly, people will judge me because my hair, isn't and I don't have the flyest hairstyle, or stuff, that people will judge me, that has become part of our even adult mentality. So when you have that adult mentality that you got to go on social media and brag about vacations and act like you don't need to save for your future like everybody on the planet needs to. It's like white people unapologetically live modestly, many of them. And they not ashamed of it. They brag about how much money they've saved. I bought this used. I bought that used. But we have to embrace that we are not what we wear. We're not any of these material. I'm not, we have to move away from even being the overpriced house that we're in. When you look at the research, Carl, it says that if you look at luxury homes, like these very high-priced homes, that the purchaser, the people most likely to purchase these very high-priced homes are Black females or white males. But these are the extremes of the income level. A Black woman is making the lowest income.
Are you saying that we have a propensity to show off?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes, we have been taught that. And I know that it is true because my family is very highly educated. And the more, and I have seen it, the more educated they are, the more they're like that. You know, my client that didn't go to college is more likely to be a millionaire because they don't have anything to prove. And then the client that did, don't let them go all the way up. And they feel like they have to really show that they're doing well. But when they're getting, up in age, we should do a survey on just, that what is, because I've seen some numbers and there isn't at age, in retirement age. There's not a big difference between the college graduate's wealth and the person who didn't go to college and their wealth. So we need to, realize that your income only helps you if you invest it wisely in assets that create income for you down the road. So your residential real estate is not going to create income for you down the road unless you move out. So you move out or get a renter.
Is real estate a good thing to get into now? Because I hear a lot of people are trying to get into real estate because they think that a lot of people are actually going to lose their homes, and they're sitting on
hoping on that.
Yeah.
And the sad part is the people who are trying to take advantage of this bad time for possibly other people, that they're not fully equipped to keep it once you get it. So you're trying to buy it at the lowest price, but you're using all the money that you have. So you really can't fix it up. You can't do anything with it. So you're going to ruin yourself if you're not careful also. But Carl, that there is always potential in real estate, but the house you live in is supposed to be affordable. Like if you're buying a investment property, and you're not, maybe it has 4 units and you live in 1 unit and you rent out all of the other 3, that's separate than when you buy the same square footage in one big house and it's just you and your 1 child, or you and your husband, and you have 5 bedrooms, and you have, and then one of you loses your job and you were approved for the loan with both incomes. Now, what does it usually lead to?
Would you advise, if you've got that one home that you live in and you've got some equity, would you advise pulling out that equity, starting a business, or investing in more real estate, or would you just sit on the equity?
It depends on their situation. It really depends on their situation. But refinancing and taking your home equity and putting it into a business, and you don't have any business experience, that's kind of a hard situation. I would much rather see the new entrepreneur work hard first, because taking out equity and giving yourself a salary and all it does is make you weak. If you want to be in my hustle hard strategy and become strong, sustainable entrepreneur, you need to learn how to work. So loans only make you weak. Like you think, oh, it's always going to have if you do the loan because you got to buy some equipment for this business that or you got to buy a 18-wheeler because you're going to drive it, forever, and you're going to know how to make money off of it. Not that you're going to put somebody else in it, but you're actually going to work and do it, but so it really depends on the situation, because a lot of people will refinance it, then end up losing their house because they're not ready to work hard. So I would say, prove it to me first that you really can make this work. And then you take your equity, if you have to take your business to the next level. But you get it there first, because that's you're using your asset.
All right, we come up on a break, JB. When we come back, though, Biden is trying to push this $1,400 for us to get, and the question is for some folks who who can use it as discretionary income. I mean, they don't have to pay all their bills, catch up on their mortgage or their rent. What advices would you have for folks like that? And I'll let you respond to that on the other side of this short break right here on FM 95.9 and AM 1450 WOL, where information is power.
I'm Demetria Lucas for the new Gold Series Hair Repair Collection. As a podcast host, author, and cultural critic, I tell stories that give Black women a voice. Because if we don't tell our own story, someone else will. My hair tells my story too, so I want it to be fabulous and healthy.
The Gold Series Hair Repair Collection works as hard as you do. It's designed to reduce breakage by 50% for 2 times stronger hair. Gold Series. We work hard while you work wonders.
Janaya, did the Richmond Public Library
is not something that you feel
send that
until it happens.
information?
Most people lose their vision
No, I
from
just thought about
diseases
that.
like macular degeneration and glaucoma.
For the 6 o'clock.
Not at birth.
With macular degeneration, you lose your central vision.
You have a blind spot right in the center of your face, so I can't actually see your face.
So even that little circle in which I could see became a big blur.
I was 65 when I first was diagnosed
I
with
can't hear
glaucoma.
you, so we'll have to chat it back.
I had no headaches.
3 million Americans have glaucoma, and half don't even know it.
11 million people in the United States have macular degeneration.
You lose mobility, independence, changes your entire life.
So many eye disorders.
Pros and cons of reverse morning.
My husband tells me that I have beautiful brown eyes, and I don't want to lose that.
It's a good point.
Today to get your eyes checked.
Visit brightfocus.org to learn more.
There are everyday actions to help prevent
You're on
the spread of
mute.
respiratory diseases. Wash your hands.
You're on mute. That's why I
Avoid
can
close contact with people
you hear me?
say something.
Avoid
No.
touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are
Did you hear from the
sick.
library?
Cover your cough or sneeze.
Huh?
Did you hear from the Richmond Library?
Objects with household cleaning spray. For more
No, the
information,
Richmond
visit
Library?
.gov/COVID.
They can hear you and I can't hear you.
Message brought to you by the National
It's probably because I have
Broadcasters and this station.
I don't know, these
Media at WOL DC News.
And now back to the Carl Nelson Show on Washington, D.C.'s 1450.
I'm down.
1450 WOL Radio.
I'm
Thanks for staying with us, folks. Our guest is financial advisor. Her name is J.B. Bryan. You got a question about finances? This is the lady you need to direct the questions to. Our number is 800-450-7876. Before we left, JB, I was telling that Biden is adamant about getting us this $1,400, and some folks think it's too small to do anything, to invest in anything, and it's not enough to spend on anything. So they're wondering what to do with this $1,400. Just blow it, or just hold it, or just sit there. Well, I know a friend of mine told me it's too small to do anything with it. He's all caught up on his bills. It's just going to sit there.
Go for
What advice should you have for people like that?
Well, that's the best advice for a person like that doesn't need it, is to really save it. I mean, really work on having that emergency fund, because the average American does not have $1,400 just sitting there. So, make sure that you just sit it there. If you can have it liquidly available, don't go around, what can I put this in? How can I double my money? This needs to be your emergency fund if you don't have one, because things happen and we need to have access to emergency money to get things fixed. Car breaks down, someone pass away, anything. So emergencies happen. But if you had to choose, how do I spend this? Definitely, Carl, I think they should make sure they focus on housing first, that you have a place to rest your head, that you have a place for your family. And I also think that this is a good time for multiple family living, especially in the Black community, because your children are we're more likely to have children in a single parent household. So if we can get the grandparents to help the single parent at this time, so that she can hustle hard, and know that her children are safe, that would be a great opportunity. And at the same time, the grandparent, if they're able to, if they're flexible enough, but they could be together, allow the families to be together just for this time, and it will make a huge difference as to how you recover from this pandemic. Because we need to, support one another, and the children need to not get behind in school. And worry about, the children trying to do the independent learning if they're not back into the classroom, that the independent learning without a parent around. So our children really need this. So the multiple,
you just mentioned about the pandemic, JB, and some people are saying, well, even Biden said that the economy won't return until they solve the pandemic problem. Do you believe that's we're going to be in this state of suspension, inertia, if you will, until somebody comes up and figures it out with the vaccine or the virus goes away, and it may never go away. So how do you see the future financially?
I think that if they change, like if regulations were changed, that, and businesses are really restricted by the regulations that the government has put out. So even though it is a health concern, believe me, if the government let up on those restrictions, then these businesses will open back up full steam ahead. But the government has to look out for the public health issue and the public health concern. So, it is, actually making it hard because of the public health concern for businesses to move forward. So yes, and even for people having to make personal decisions, like they're being demanded to come back into work, but they don't feel safe going back into work. They may have pre-existing conditions, and if they don't have a job that says, oh, you have pre-existing conditions, you can stay at home. Those are only certain jobs. Generally, that's a government job that will allow you to do that. But if you don't have a government job, then you're asked to come back to work. You have to make that decision if you, don't feel like you should, or feel at risk if you do. As there's no protection for that. It's like, okay, well, if you don't want to come back, then you lost your job. But there's a really hard line there on allowing businesses to do everything that they want to do, like say restaurants, and the restaurants allowing them to just fill it up and let everybody come in, and because that's the economy, allowing everybody to come back out, allowing everybody, to feel comfortable going into the grocery store. And well, that's one thing, people are still in grocery prices, in my opinion, are higher than ever. Like these basic consumer staples like have just become more and more expensive. And that is something that I feel that the government should be addressing. Like that a limitation on the amount of inflation that can be put on food prices at this time. Because that's something that people have to buy, and they're not thinking about that.
Yeah, we're seeing inflation now. We're seeing the prices rise at the stores.
That's
Not
right.
only the prices rise, but the products are getting smaller.
Yes,
whether it be
yes,
chips or
yes.
whatever, they're getting smaller, but the prices are going up.
Yes, that's what I
And-
said at Whole Foods the other day, because the vitamin C has been cut in half. Like the bottle is in half, and the price is the same. I said this bottle used to be twice as
big. Same, usually going up.
Yeah, but that's a trick.
We know this inflation is coming, and we still haven't solved the financial problem yet.
But see, Carl, if they give you a smaller quantity and they keep the price the same, they've still inflated it. You see what I'm saying? But it's a trick way to inflate it. and they're getting away with it. Yeah. So if they do that, they go, oh, and it's still $9.99. So the purchaser is like, oh, it's still $9.99. But when you get it, it's like, oh, this is only $50. It used to be $100. So definitely that's some huge inflation.
So is there anything we can do to stay ahead of inflation? Because, we're talking about the money, and I told you about a friend of mine who says, the $1,400 is not enough for him to do anything. He's going to sit on it. He says it's not even worth putting in the bank, putting in your savings account.
Yes.
What can you do with $1,400 if you're a person like him who doesn't have to spend the money? He's got the $1,400. Is there any investment? Because he says it'd be a waste of time to put it in the bank.
Oh, it's a beautiful addition. You could put it into your own individual retirement account if you have a IRA set up, but also you can backdoor it into your work plan. It's early in the year. You could add $100 to what you're putting away at work every month. Even actually you could even put more than that away, and your check would still, like, you could put away about $130 and your check would only go down about $100. So if you want your check to go, because it's pre-taxed, so you can put away that whole $1,400 back and use it to reduce your taxes. Actually, you reduce your taxable income by putting that into your work plan. Or you can do it over 2 months, increase it for 2 months at your work, and divide it by $700, a $700 increase, and take it from yourself, basically by not getting paid. But that's a way to get it into a retirement account without you having to put it into, without setting up a new account. So because doing it through work would be convenient, but definitely I encourage everyone, because that's what I do, to set up their own individual retirement account also. But typically they're set up once you leave your job, and then you roll it over into an individual retirement account. The numbers of the amount of money, Carl, that was taken out of retirement accounts last year is huge. Remember when we talked about how people under 59 and a half could take out money without penalties last year? Well, I mean, so incomes are going to be high. This is going to be interesting around tax time, people that did it, because their income is going to be higher than they expected. So even though they didn't have the 10% penalty, they may actually owe taxes from doing that, even though they withheld them, because they're in a higher tax bracket than they thought about. Because you take out 100,000, they let you take out up to 100,000 from your work plan. So you take out 100,000 without any tax penalties, but it's still taxable income. So that puts you in a really high tax bracket, and you're still working, say. Or remember, unemployment is even taxable. So you're gonna, we have to.
I got a tweet for you that actually tweeted the last time you were on, and he told me to tell you thanks. He's 63 years old. He had never saved in his life till he heard you talk about you should have some savings. He started saving his money now. He's got a nice little nest egg, but he wanted to know how much of an emergency fund should he have?
Yeah, if he's getting guaranteed income, then he's good on the emergency fund. Look, because you have worked, you have fought the good fight. Now you have Social Security and pension, say. But if you don't have, any of those things going on yet, say he's waiting until he's at full retirement age, it might be 67, then he might, you could make sure that you have at least 3 months, at least 90 days of emergency fund available. Not that, just stick to the plan and then reach for 6, then go for 6 months, but what are your monthly expenses? And then work on making sure you have at least 3 months of those expenses saved. Unless you already have guaranteed income, you don't really need to worry about that. You can put your money to work.
Yeah, well, he never told me how he's saving the money. So how should he save the money? Should be just in a regular savings account?
If the emergency fund,
like a mattress?
That's right. Look, no, the emergency fund should, I do think that we should have some cash at home. I don't think that if a person.
Hang on a second, JB.
Yep.
I'll let you expound on that after this short break. Folks, you want to join us? It's 800-450-7876. JB Bryan's our guest. She's a financial advisor. And we'll take your calls after this short break on FM 95.9 and AM 1450. WOL, where information is power.
Hey, good afternoon. This check on traffic sponsored by Mattress Warehouse's Clean Shop Promise. Over in Silver Spring, there's a crash on 29 right at Wayne Avenue. Police are now on the scene there. There's also a wreck in Southeast D.C. on Southern Avenue at 22nd Street. Over in Oxon Hill, look out for this accident on Oxon Hill Road at John Hanson Lane. Still picking up some heavy volume now on the outer loop of the Beltway through Prince George's County out of Greenbelt from the BW Parkway up to the Park Station. After that, you're back up to speed, approaching 95. There's that work zone set up on 395 heading north at Boundary Channel Drive. And southbound, there's a disabled vehicle at Glebe Road that takes up the right lane. Save up to $1,000 at Mattress Warehouse, plus get 0% interest financing for 60 months and free delivery on all orders over $6.99. SleepHappens.com. I'm Tony Thornton for News Talk 1450 AM WOL, where information is power.
With no fees or minimums on checking and savings accounts, banking with Capital One is like the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Kind of like choosing Charles Barkley in a pickup game.
We'll take Barkley.
Ha! First pick. Sorry, kid.
Yep, even easier than that. And with our top-rated app, you can bank anytime, anywhere, making Capital One an even easier decision.
Okay, here's the plan. Pass me the ball every time.
This is banking reimagined. What's in your wallet? New consumer accounts only. Approval required. Terms apply. Capital One and a member FDIC.
My part-time service in the Army National Guard makes it possible for me to be more for the community I call home. I'm a better neighbor because my service has taught me how important it is to be a team player. My training helps me in my classes when I give attention to detail to the task at hand. My service also allows me to be there for my community in ways others can't. I help my hometown recover after nature strikes. My service in the Army National Guard allows me to keep my country and those I care about safe from threats. I also work with a network of professionals that help me succeed. Also, the Army National Guard's education benefits make getting a higher education a reality. Being an Army National Guard soldier makes living and serving in my community more rewarding every day. Learn more about how you too can live and serve part-time close to home by visiting nationalguard.com.
Sponsored by the Maryland Army National Guard, aired by the Maryland, D.C., Delaware Broadcasters Association and this station.
Bring in the season with the D.C. Army National Guard Band. The band will perform holiday favorites at 7 p.m. on Monday, December 16th at Holy Comforter Church on East Capitol Street. Members of the D.C. Army National Guard will be on hand to answer questions about life as a military musician and the many benefits of Guard part-time service. For more information about opportunities with the D.C. Guard, visit nationalguard.com. Sponsored by the D.C. Army National Guard, aired by the Maryland, D.C., Delaware Broadcasters Association and this station.
Follow us on Instagram at WOL DC News.
And now back to the Carl Nelson Show.
On Washington, D.C.'s 1450.
1450 WOL Radio.
And thanks for staying with us, folks. Our guest is JB Bryan. JB is a financial advisor. Get back to JB in a moment. Let me just remind you at the top of the hour, we're joined by attorney Malik Zulu Shabazz. He's got a new book out. It's called The Book of Khalid about Khalid Muhammad. And later this week, you're going to hear from chematologist Tony Browder. Also, attorney Dwight Pettit is going to be here. He's going to take a look at the legal problems facing Donald Trump. And then we're going to have the godfather of black economics, Dr. Claude Anderson. We like to call him the man with a plan. He's going to join us as well. And clinical psychologist Dr. Jerome E. Fox. You know him from his best-selling book, Addicted to White, The Oppressed in League with the Oppressor, Shame-Based Alliance. So they're all going to be here all this week. So if you're in the DMV, keep your radio locked right here on FM 95.9 and AM 1450 WOL. So JB, I'm going to let you finish your thought.
We were talking about having cash on hand. And I do think that that's really important. And I know one thing that we've learned from this COVID-19 experience is that we need to expect the unexpected. And at least $1,000, you should make sure that you have available if there's some sort of, massive global ATM machine shut down, or, you can't access it. Of course, it will be back up, but you'll feel a lot better knowing, like, for each adult in the household, make sure you have at least $1,000 that's set aside for them. And that might be because I watch a lot of movies, but I do believe that anything can happen. Anything, so have it available.
That's quite true.
Mm-hmm.
But I got a tweet about the $15 minimum wage.
Yes.
Payment, and the tweeter says if we pay folks $15, then they're going to pass on the increase to the consumer. So we're going to be paying more for goods. As we mentioned about inflation, we're going to be paying much more if this $15 minimum wage passes. Your thoughts?
That's ridiculous. That's not how it works. They can only sell to you at the price at which you'll buy it. So if you buy it and you give into it and you pay more, because I'm going to tell you that it is very hard because of competition for people to charge you, a lot of money. Oh, so if you go somewhere and they're overcharging you and using the excuse because of rightful pay to their people, you should definitely not even consider buying anything there. Like I saw in California, they did a mandatory, all of the grocery stores have to pay, at least I think it's $15 an hour, because these people are risking their life every day. So, and there's so many employers that aren't paying hazard pay, but at least what they could do, is make sure. So what in exchange for that, some of the grocery stores closed down. They're saying that it's because of that. Well, Carl, it's not because of that. They were closing down anyway. So, don't as consumers, we cannot allow them to make it into an issue for us, because at the same time, you might not think that $15 an hour will come up to you when you're making, say, 100,000 a year, but it starts at the bottom. Your pay raise starts at the bottom. So if they get a mentality as a company that they value their people, it's going to impact you, and you're going to get a pay raise too. So when you go and ask for a pay raise because you make six figures, do you think that you're taking away from the profits of the company? Or do you realize that you're creating the profits for the company? And the most important people of your organization are actually the ones that have the minimum wage jobs. These are the people that are keeping the American economy together. They're the first line. How can people even justify the person that comes in the front door, the first person that they see when they enter your business, and you don't think that you should pay them correctly? But the person that they never get in contact with.
We got some folks who want to talk to you.
Yeah. So
stay with us a second. 800-450-7876. Mike's in Maryland. He's on line 2. Mike, you're on with JB Bryan.
Hi, Carl and JB. I appreciate you bringing on this guest. I've listened to her over the years on the station here and previous times when she was on. I just wanted to make a point and ask a question, though. I know with the coronavirus, it's bad on us in the community, but it's only one silver lining that I found in this situation was the ability to refinance loans at low interest rates. So I wanted to get that out here to folks and talk more about that, because I know people who save anywhere from $400 to $800 a month on their monthly mortgages.
Right. Look,
low interest rate. So
check,
we want to promote that idea of low interest rate.
But check this out, Mike. The only calls that I get are people who are refinancing, Carl. I mean, Mike, seriously, for $50, $100. So I tell this lady, like, that's what's happening. They're not getting the 400 and the 800. I'd be excited about it. I haven't seen it. Like,
I've actually seen it. I personally, I know personally.
That's so good. That's the only person, really. That's the person who's winning. But we have the majority, unfortunately, of the people that appears to me that are doing it are the ones that are like at 3 1/4, and they're going to 2 1/4, and their payment's going to go down about $100, and they're paying $6,000 to get it. So I'm like, you understand that this is going to take you 5 years. The 5 years, because it's only $100 a month. This will take you 5 years to get ahead. And there
people actually can do it. For example, I'll just illustrate my situation.
Sure.
It was an investment loan actually too. It was a 4.875%. I went down to 2.875.
Great.
I'm saving about $800 a month.
Great.
That's
the rule of thumb.
Other people,
2 percentage points.
Other people who did it, and they saved about $400. But
that's so good.
I asked them, this is that.
But you're right. That's what it's for. But I think a lot of those deals are gone. Like, there's very few people out there with existing mortgages with good credit like yourself that are in 4 or 5%. You know what I'm saying? And then they're giving up.
In my case,
yeah.
I based on your advice, the loan that I actually refinance was an investment loan. It was not
great.
Even a house.
That's a great rate on an investment property.
I live modest, but my investments are high end.
That's great.
Put it that way. But bottom line
That's
is
right.
that anybody out there that can refinance, they should be doing it. And then the folks who I did encourage to refinance, I always ask them this, and this is the question I have to you, is that, and hopefully more listeners can learn this. What I tell them to do is this: once you make these savings for $400 plus or more savings, try to invest that money into a 529 plan. And that's the question I want to put out there. Explain to folks what it.
But why do you suggest? You're saying if they have a child to do the 529 for their children?
Mainly they do. They mainly do have children.
Oh, so if they have a child, but I would never suggest a 529. Never. But I would say if they had the extra money and they were maxing out their plan at work, but if they were active participants in a 401k doing a couple $100, I would say you better put that 400 into your work plan and reduce your taxable income, because that 401k is a direct help to their taxes more than the interest, because now they've refinanced.
I agree with you that maxing that out, because I do believe in the approach. You do always have to put on that, like when you write a plan, you put on that mass first, and that's the one thing you do have to do. In my background, I have a financial background, but you do have to do that. And I'm assuming most of the people I do tell that information to, that they are maxing out.
Yeah. But you can't. I can't. Look, I better not assume, because the majority of people, I haven't met a person yet that was maxing out when I met them. They're maxing out now because I helped them reposition. But, most people, they don't take it as seriously. Even when they're making $200,000 a year, they're not seeing the full benefit of it. So
everybody I know do max out.
That's so good. That's great.
Because I tell them there's money on the table.
Amen. But I'm gonna tell you what, they might have to be careful, because people think that they're maxing out when they're getting the company match. So if the company is matching 4% and they're putting in 4%, they'll tell you they're maxing out. And I go, okay, well, tell me more. How much are you putting in? And they're not maxing out. You know what I mean? When I say maxing out, I'm saying the most that the Internal Revenue Service will allow you to put in.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? But they don't, most workers don't see it that way. Professionals, they're proud because they're getting the maximum match from the company, and the company doesn't, invest in having us come in. But I have seen a lot of companies adding on an investment advisory fee to the statement, but they're not really getting the advice. So, but people have signed up for these programs. And so there's anybody out there listening, check your account statement, because there's additional fees that are coming on from employers trying to protect themselves. So they're hiring investment advisory firms, like mine, but not mine. And they're hiring the firms so that they can say, we offered them assistance. So, make sure that if you are doing that and paying those fees, get the help that you need, and talk to someone, or consider AfroEconomics, of course.
All right, Mike, thank you for your call. We're going to keep moving because we're racing the clock.
Great question,
I got another
Mike.
call. Thanks, Mike. 800-450-7876. Derek's in Colorado is on line 3. Derek, you're on with JB.
I'll be real quick. I just might make some real comments, and I have a question. And my first one is going to be, I have a 401k and I have an IRA, and I bought $1,000 in the month, and I'm current on all my bills and everything else like that. But the issue is, and I have a truck, and I'm not going to get a brand new truck or a used truck, and it's paid for. It runs well. It's 2006 Ford Ranger. I had some, and had got into a car accident, and I had the guy work on. He did some body work on. He got sick. Anyway. The only thing he needs to have done is paint it. And the guy, I went to some guy, and I said, he said $2,200 to paint it, and it would be like a brand new truck and everything. Should I just leave the way it is, or should I just pay the $2,200 or something like that?
I would leave it the way it is, but it just depends on how important it is for you on how that 06 looks. Like, what are you going to do with the paint job? You just want it to sit outside and look better, or do you use it for work? Like, if you really need it to look better.
Like I said, it's all the body work's been done, but the guy got sick; he wasn't able to paint it, and I just wanted to look so halfway decent or something like that. But mechanically, it runs well, and I just can't. I don't want to get like I said, a brand new truck or a used truck anymore because I've seen the prices, and I've seen too many people get in trouble.
Personally, I haven't had a good experience with when you get a vehicle painted and it's not the factory paint.
Well, hang on a second,
so
JB.
Just
We got to take a
be
short break
careful
here.
and make sure it's good.
The top of the hour, so some of our stations need to identify themselves down the line. Stay with us as well, Derek. Stations like FM 95.9 and AM 1450, WOL, where information is power.
We don't want you on our team.
Guess I should
You're
just
too
say,
slow and fast.
you're right.
This is weight bias.
Don't buy a new
I'm
car.
worried about your weight.
I'm
Don't
telling
you
them
care
about
what
the
other
paint
people
job.
think? Millions who live and are affected by obesity.
Those
face
non-factory
weight bias
paint jobs are
every day.
horrible.
You're not the right fit for this job.
Unfair judgment by others. Just stop eating so much and exercise some. You lose all this weight. These people often blame themselves.
It's just me. Somebody likes me. I do exercise and eat right. And I talk to my doctor.
Weight bias
hurts.
Everyone deserves to be treated with dignity and respect.
Your words and actions matter.
Let's stop weight bias.
Let's work together.
Be part of the solution. Go to stopweightbias.com and learn more. A public service message from Obesity Action Coalition.
America is kept safe because the Army National Guard responds, protects, and supports our nation when it needs them most. The Army National Guard responds to disasters such as wildfires and floods. They protect us with missile defense, cybersecurity, and civilian support teams for chemical, biological, and radiological hazards. Be there for your community and your country. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn more about part-time service. Sponsored by the D.C. Army National Guard. Aired by the Maryland, D.C., Delaware Broadcasters Association and this station.
WOL, Washington, D.C. W240DJ, Washington. 95.9. WMMJ, HD3, Bethesda. WKYS, HD3, Washington. WPRS, HD3, Waldorf, and worldwide at WOLDCnews.com.
The views and opinions of the following show do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of News Talk 1450 WOL, Radio 1 Incorporated, or their management. Welcome to the Carl Nelson Show
On Washington, D.C.'s 1450 WOL Radio and live around the world on WOLDCnews.com.
Thanks for staying with us, folks. Attorney Malik Zula Shabazz is on deck. We get to Ben momentarily, but let's go back to JB and finish your response to Derek in Colorado. JB?
But the short answer is, Derek, that you are right. Do not buy the new car. Do not buy a used car. Fix your car as good as new at the best price with the best service. Make sure you check for customer complaints, on the paint job. But you're right. Save the money. Vehicles are the worst thing next to, I guess, televisions and things like that we can put our money into, because they just depreciate and you're just throwing away money. So if you can do a $2,200 paint job and you're happy, that's fantastic. Somebody told me the other day.
One more question I have for you now. I'll be real brief. This is my real brief. Now, I have a home. On this home, I was told, and I have on my traditional IRA, I've earned some money on this. I was told I can take some money out of that and pay down the principal. Would you recommend doing that? The money I have earned. I mean, if I earned $2,000 or $3,000, take my earnings and take the $3,000 to pay down the principal on the house. Is that a wise plan, a wise move, or anything else like that?
I can't see why, with the interest rates on your home being so low and the tax rate on that withdrawal being extremely high, why you would do that. I don't get it.
I'm past 59 and a half.
Yeah, but it's still taxable income. You won't get the penalty, but that's all. Like, say you got federal at 20% and your local, your state taxes, whatever your state is, say it's 5%. That costs you 25% to take it out. You got to take out 25% more to get what you want out. So the taking that out for, and it's, I don't see the advantage to you at all, as far as like, only, your house will be paid off, I'm sure soon. You could just pay extra principal payments with the $1,400 that you might get from the government, apply that directly to principal, and you're halfway there.
All right, thanks,
Okay,
Terry.
I will do that. Thanks a lot, Carl.
Great.
All righty. Before we go to Attorney Malik, Ricardo's in D.C. on line 4. Ricardo, can you make it quick for us?
Great.
Yes, I hope so. Hi, JB. I call. Quick advice. Okay, I'm 62. I'm thinking about retiring. My pension is looking pretty good. I have some savings.
Right.
Of course, I got Social Security. What would you recommend for a pretty solid plan if I decide to retire this year?
We got a plan. So please consider AfroEconomics. That's exactly what I do. I was just talking to a client, Fred, on the way here to the studio about, he wants to retire at the end of the year too. And we just have to plan it out. We just look at it, make it real to you. We go to SSA.gov, get your report, know how much your income's going to be, plan for taxes. We just need to plan. And sometimes having me involved, having somebody else to run things by, it could be priceless for you. And when you check it out, like, membership is minimal. So, but just developing the relationship, we have our one-on-one meetings. It would benefit you this year, especially.
But you would definitely recommend don't touch Social Security until what age, would you think? I mean, if you can afford not to touch
I know that's right. Till 70, is the magic age, really. The longer you can put it off, I mean, you're getting mad money from your full retirement age to, look, they're going to soon, full retirement age is going to be 69, but right now it's not. So you'll get that 8% bonus. If your full retirement age is 67, you're going to get a nice jump every year up to your 70th year. So could definitely consider, if you can put it off, as long as possible. You sound very healthy. I don't know what you need to be thinking about retirement anyway. So you're right.
Well, I mean, I got 30 years. I've done my 30 years. I don't know.
I know.
Nothing. The next day is not promised to us.
I know.
That's why.
But just use them vacation days. 30 years. Look, 30 years. He has like 4 weeks vacation.
You're 5. I got one.
Oh my goodness.
We did. Yeah.
5 weeks vacation. 5. Look, you're good. You can. That's half the year. You can take one day off a month.
All right, Ricardo, we're going to let you go because we've got to move on. But I thank you for your call. Good question, by the way. Yes, sir. JB, how can folks reach you?
1-844-JB-BRYAN. Our best way, go to the internet, jbbryan.com or AfroEconomics.com.
Right.
Yes,
thanks,
indeed.
JB.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. Have a great week.
All right. Yeah, that's JB Bryan Finance.
Hmm.
5 weeks.
Thank you. Woo, y'all, we made it.